towards the worst in the region. Is that the place we desire to be? Let's talk more and see how we can improve this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me Irene Abaro on the panel. She's going to have a panel discussion and see how we can do this thing. And let's really be generous with our handcraft. Thank you very much. Irene works with Nation Media Group. You heard her story. I don't really need to add anything, but we'll hear more from her. As Irene makes her way, I would also like to invite one of the veterans in the media. As we were young people, and I'm no longer young, as we were young people aspiring to join the media space, there are people we heard about, we read about, we saw their work, and now they are veterans, they're in the academia space, they are still mentoring young people. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. J.B. Waswa on the panel. Maybe one day we'll discover what JB stands for because we always see JB. We also have in the house Mr. John Cliff Wamara from NTV. John Cliff, you're welcome. With us also we have Miss Josephine Namakumbi. She's in the house. Please, guys. Thank you. We have another gentleman, media practitioner, Mr. Henry Singh Kajako. That name is, yeah, that one. Thank you. Welcome. And they are not alone. On the panel, they'll have somebody who's supposed to be defending their rights. Oh, how? Who will tell us how we need to defend our rights? Dr. Sylvia Nambiru from LabsNet. Welcome. Once again, thank you, everybody. Human Rights Network for Journalists, thank you very much for this report, and thank you for doing it consistently, year after year. Legends are consistent. You are becoming one. And to the supporters of this exercise and the industry, we appreciate. I'll start with the journalists. Is my mic on? Thank you very much. From what we've seen and all the brutality and everything that happened, I'll start with Josephine, the extreme end. Josephine, the mic is on. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
What we've seen, how has it affected you as a journalist?
Good morning, everyone. I thank, first of all, the Human Rights Network for Journalists for really coming through for us, always. And I thank everyone who is here for us. Straight to the point, this is affecting us so bad, so much. As a female journalist, I came into this, by the way, let me tell you a secret. My dad didn't want me to become a journalist. So when I came through for journalism, he was happy to see me on TV and he was like, okay, she's gotten somewhere. But the day I was beaten, I received calls from my relatives. My dad told me, do you want to first die and leave journalism? It was from a parent. That is how bad it is when we are attacked. I was beaten, my back was hit with a metal that they claim it's a stick. It's not a stick. There's a metal inside that thing. It's the same thing that was hit on Cliff's head. So I was hit on the back, and I went for X-ray. I was so scared. I thought my back got broken there and then. So the pain does not go away. I've received treatment. African Center for Treatment of Torture Victims gave me treatment. I also went to hospital. But it is not something that disappears in a day or two. Even up to now, if I stand for so long, if I sit for so long, the back starts again. So to the tormentors, to those that are attacking us, you're not only attacking me, you're attacking my family, my relatives, but also to the young people that are looking up to me, that want to become journalists. you are attacking them. There is that trauma. There is that pain, the psychological pain that every time you see or think about these things. I was watching the video, I was about to break down. It was a lot of pain. So maybe the security should really reflect on what they do. You're not attacking me alone. You're attacking a nation, a family behind me, and a new generation of journalists that is in school. A lot of them want to come to the field, but when they see what is happening, they really feel like changing, but they can't. They've already gone into it. So maybe if really the government owns this fight against torturing journalists, if they don't, the future is going to cry. The future is going to shed blood because of a profession that is allowed within the law.
Sorry about that, Josephine. We pray that you get the courage, more than just the physical recovery, the psychological torture. At times can be too immense. Cliff, what's your story? Briefly.
Thank you so much. My name is John Cliff Wamala. I'm a journalist and documentary filmmaker. All protocol observed. I will start by thanking HRNJ for this opportunity and then for coming up with this. The few years of practice, I started active practice of journalism in 2018, and that was with NTV Uganda. And it is the same year, if you people remember well, when we had the Arua by-election and things didn't go well. We had the Honorable then Robert Chagulanyi arrested, and this sparked off several riots around the country, the Free Bobi Wine campaigns. And as we were covering this, this is when the battering and then the violation of our rights started. I remember the day our colleague Akena was battered downtown when we were covering with my colleague Geoffrey Twesije. And up to now, Akena has never got justice. And maybe that wasn't enough, that the years from then have not been very easy. As being a field journalist, what people here, or what we shall term as foot soldiers, I've been at the deep end at the front line of seeing our rights to freely gather information and then disseminate it to the masses violated. Coming to the, I was happy when I got a call from my assignments editor that I was going to be one of the people who were going to cover the previous elections in 2021. For anyone who had practiced for 2 years and then you got this call, it was, to me, I saw it as a step in the right direction. And I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse that I was deployed in the NUP camp still to trail the NUP former presidential candidate Robert Chagulanyi. And while there, I think like Robert here was suggesting, that we need to try and embed some of the teachings of how media works into the trainings of the men in uniform. Because from the time we started covering this trail, the men in uniform could not easily separate the journalists from the actual people of the political opponents or the people in the NUP camp. Even as we're clearly identified as journalists with the press tags and everything, but I think they have a very wrong mindset that when you cover something that is not within their wish, you are an opponent. And I received another beating. I've forgotten the date, but this was around Ngeta Swamp as they were blocking Chagulanyi from passing through Lira. That evening, I remember we were three. There is a gentleman from Busoga 1 called Moses Waiswa, then me and a gentleman from DBS. And these were UPDF people who we even had to raise up our hands and surrender to them with our press jackets on. But since it was in the dark because they had blocked us in the middle of the swamp, nowhere to turn, they said, "Muna kolachi," and they battered us. Then the second brutal and very bad incident was around Masaka, where the men in uniform, the policemen and the UPDF, directly were targeting us. My colleague Ali Mivule, I was on camera, we were moving together, and the DPC by then pointed the tear gas canister gun to him direct and said collateral damage, and shot it at his thigh. And I remember on the same day, the journalist Ashila Kasiri got a severe injury on his head. And maybe these were not signs enough to tell us that the more deadly days were yet to come. Coming to the incident that Josephine here was trying to highlight and describe, when still we were at Kololo, when the NUP president was petitioning the UN Human Rights Commission, I was clearly identified as an NTV journalist with the press jacket, and then also with the Media Council tag that they made us subscribe and pay to get. But still, when these angry UPDF soldiers came, they bounced all their anger onto us. And this has not gone on easily, because for some days after the incident, I was afraid of staying at my place. This happened after several calls of intimidation from some officers who called and saying, "We have heard you people and your team want to go to court, but you won't get justice. Come and we give you the 1 million compensation, because even when you go to courts of law, you will not get justice." And they said, "We are watching." And this, to me, meant a lot, because where we pass, where we go, where we work from and where we eat, everything, they said, "We are watching. So you either go in with this or still you won't receive justice." We tried to have a thick skin and went to court. But you know, what matters to these people is looking at compensation, but not stopping the vice of intimidating and violating our rights as we practice. And just of recent, it's like a week ago, when I was covering the state fees, that